Lyria stood on the edge of the cliff, watching the twin suns dip below the horizon. The sky glowed with shades of gold and violet, and the soft wind of her home planet brushed against her green-tinted hair. Her heart felt heavy, though the evening was beautiful. In her hand, she clutched a small crystal pendant that Kale had given her. It shimmered in the last sunlight, and for a moment, she allowed herself to remember the first time he had smiled at her. It had been months ago, when Kale arrived on her planet as part of the human diplomatic mission. Most aliens had been wary of him. Humans were outsiders, unpredictable, and, according to her mother, dangerous in subtle ways. But Kale had something that her people rarely saw in outsiders: gentleness and patience. Even more, he had a spark that made her heart race. Lyria sighed, looking down at the city below. Her mother's palace gleamed in the distance, tall spires that reflected the light of the suns. The city was alive with activity even at this late hour. Alien citizens hurried through the streets, their lives shaped by rigid traditions and careful rules. Lyria knew she had always felt different from them. She loved her family, especially her mother, but she had always followed her own path. And now, her path had taken a turn she could not undo. She pressed a hand to her stomach, feeling the tiny life growing inside her, a life that carried both alien and human blood. Her mind raced with worry. What would her mother say? What would the Council of Elders think? Pregnancy outside the boundaries of her species' rules was considered shocking, almost unthinkable. Yet, despite fear, she knew she had to be honest. "Lyria?" A soft voice called from behind. She turned quickly, and her green eyes met Kel's warm brown ones. He was carrying a small bag, likely full of supplies for the journey they were planning. He stepped closer, his human form awkwardly but confidently moving over the uneven ground. "Are you thinking too much again?" he asked gently. Lyria managed a small smile. "Maybe," she admitted. "It's complicated." Kale crouched beside her, carefully watching the horizon. "I know it is, but we can face it together, can't we?" His voice was calm, steady, full of reassurance. Lyria felt her chest tighten. Humans could say so much with just a few words. He reached out, brushing a loose strand of her hair behind her ear. The touch was simple, but it made her heart race like nothing else. "We need to go home soon," she said softly. "I can't hide this forever. My mother. She will notice soon, and the council will surely question everything. She trailed off, unsure how to continue. Kale nodded, understanding more in her silence than she could say. "Then we go together. I will be by your side, no matter what happens." Lyria wanted to believe him, but the weight of centuries-old traditions pressed down on her. Her people had long feared outsiders, and humans were considered especially strange. Kale was not like the human she had read about in history books. He was gentle, clever, and honest. But her mother valued the rules above everything. Lyria could not imagine her reaction. They began walking down the cliffside path toward the city. The journey was quiet at first, both lost in their thoughts. Lyria's mind wandered to the first day she had met Kale. He had stumbled into the city's central square, completely unaware of the customs. Yet he had apologized politely when he realized he had broken protocol. His awkwardness had been endearing, and from that moment, a quiet friendship had grown into something deeper. As they entered the city, the streets were alive with soft lights and the hum of alien life. Merchants were closing their shops, and children played near the fountains, their laughter echoing through the stone buildings. Lyria felt a pang of longing for a simpler time, when her biggest worry had been her studies and daily routines. Now, every step toward her mother's palace brought a mixture of hope and fear. "Are you sure about this?" Kale asked after a while, breaking the silence. His tone was careful. "I mean, coming here, telling your family." "I have to," Lyria said firmly, though her voice shook. "I can't live with a secret like this anymore. My child deserves honesty, and I want you to be part of my life fully, not just in secret." Kale took her hand, squeezing gently. "Then I'll be there, every step of the way." As they approached the palace gates, the guards recognized Lyria and bowed respectfully. She nodded in return, her stomach tightening with anxiety. Kale followed quietly, aware that his presence might not be welcome. The massive doors opened, revealing the marble halls filled with statues of past rulers and glowing crystals. The air smelled faintly of incense and metal. Her mother awaited them in the main hall, seated on a high throne. Queen Solera's eyes were sharp, her posture regal. She looked at Lyria and then at Kale, her expression unreadable. "Lyria," she said slowly, her voice echoing slightly in the hall. "You have brought him here." "Yes, mother," Lyria replied, her voice steady despite the fear twisting in her chest. "I have something important to tell you. I'm expecting a child." With Kale, the words hung in the air, heavy and impossible. Queen Solera's eyes widened, and the room seemed to fall silent. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Lyria held her head high, feeling both proud and terrified. "You, with a human?" the queen asked finally, her tone a mixture of shock and disbelief. "Do you understand what this means? Do you understand the consequences?" "I do," Lyria said, "but I also know what I feel. Kale loves me, and I love him. Our child will be a part of both our worlds. I am not asking for approval immediately, mother. I am asking for understanding." Kale stepped forward slightly, bowing his head respectfully. "Your Majesty," he said carefully, "I mean no harm. I promise to honor Lyria and your family. I wish only to care for her and our child. I am not here to break rules, I am here to protect them." Queen Solara studied him closely. She was silent for a long moment, her gaze sharp and calculating. Lyria felt her heart beat faster, afraid that her mother would reject them both. But Kale's calm and sincerity seemed to make a small difference. "You are brave," Solara said at last, "and perhaps foolish. But bravery without thought can be dangerous. I will not act without counsel. But you must understand, Lyria, our people are not ready to welcome outsiders so freely." "I understand, mother," Lyria said softly, "but hiding will not make it easier. The child will be born. I want it to know its parents, and I want it to be loved." The queen's eyes softened slightly, though she did not smile. "You have grown, Lyria, perhaps more than I realized. I will consider your words, Kale. We will see if your actions match your promises." Our people will watch carefully, relief and fear mixed in Lyria's chest. She knew this was only the beginning. The Council of Elders would need to meet, and the citizens of her city might not react kindly. But for the first time, she felt a spark of hope. Kel's hand found hers again, and she felt strength in his presence. Together, they could face whatever came next. As the evening deepened, the palace halls glowed with soft light, and the distant hum of the city reminded them of the life beyond these walls. Lyria pressed a hand to her stomach, feeling the child move gently. This was the future, uncertain, challenging, but full of possibility. And for the first time, she felt ready to face it. Kale leaned closer, whispering, "No matter what happens, we are together." "Yes," Lyria replied, a small smile touching her lips. Together, always. Outside, the twin suns had set completely, leaving the city bathed in the cool glow of the moons. Change was coming, and with it, a new chapter for Lyria, Kale, and the life they had begun together. The next morning, the city woke with a gentle hum of activity. Lyria and Kale walked side by side through streets filled with tall crystal towers and flowing water channels. Citizens paused to look at them, some with curiosity, some with judgment, but most ignored them, absorbed in their own lives. Lyria's mind was heavy with the thought of her family's reaction yesterday. Her mother had not rejected her completely, but the queen's cautious words lingered in her mind. "We need to be careful," Lyria whispered as they moved through the market square. Her voice was low so that only Kale could hear. "The council and the people may watch every move. Any mistake could make things worse." Kale nodded, his human face serious. "I understand. I will follow your lead. Just tell me what to do." They passed a stall where small glowing fruits were displayed. Lyria smiled faintly. "Your first time in the city, right? Everything seems strange at first, but you'll get used to it." Kale glanced around, taking in the vibrant scene. "It is strange, but beautiful too. Your world. It feels alive in a way I've never seen before." Lyria felt a warmth in her chest. Humans often noticed small details that her people overlooked. That was part of why she had fallen in love with Kale. He saw beauty where others saw only rules. Their first stop was the Palace Council Hall. The elders had requested a meeting to discuss Lyria's announcement. As they entered the hall, the atmosphere was tense. Tall, elegant aliens with silver and green skin sat in a semicircle, their eyes sharp and probing. Lyria swallowed hard, holding Kel's hand tightly. "Lyria," one elder began, her voice steady but cold, "you have brought a human into our city and declared a pregnancy. Do you understand the seriousness of this act?" "Yes, Elder Thalara," Lyria replied. "I understand, but I also believe love and honesty matter more than fear." Kale stepped forward cautiously. "I come with respect and care," he said. "I will protect Lyria and our child. I do not wish to harm your people or traditions. I only wish to honor them." The elders murmured among themselves. Lyria's heart pounded. This was worse than she had imagined, but she refused to step back. "Our child is a bridge," she said, her voice clear and strong. "A bridge between humans and aliens. We cannot hide it forever. I ask for patience and understanding while we prove our intentions." One elder, a tall woman with shimmering silver hair, leaned forward. "Patience is not enough. Actions speak louder than words. The council will observe, and your deeds will decide your place among us. The child may live, but only if you both show wisdom, strength, and honor." Lyria nodded solemnly. "We will. I promise." The meeting ended, but the tension did not fade. Lyria knew that this was just the beginning. The elders would be watching their every move, and the city's citizens would gossip and speculate. But Kel's presence gave her courage. He had faced prejudice before, and his calm determination inspired her to stand tall. After the council, Lyria suggested they take a walk through the city's outer gardens. It was one of her favorite places, filled with glowing flowers, waterfalls, and smooth stone paths. The gardens were quiet compared to the city streets, a place where they could think clearly. "I never realized how much courage it takes," Kale said, watching the water cascade over crystal steps. "Your people, they are strict, and yet you face them." "I had to," Lyria said. "I cannot hide my life, and our child deserves honesty. But it is not easy. My mother, she loves me, but she fears change. Change is hard for all of us." Kale nodded, looking thoughtful. "Humans face change too, but maybe we are better at embracing it. At least, I try to." He smiled faintly. "And I think that is why we work well together." Lyria laughed softly, the sound carrying lightly through the garden. "Yes, we are different, but somehow it fits." They walked in silence for a while, enjoying the peace. Then Lyria's hand went to her stomach instinctively. "The child! I feel it moving more today," she whispered. Kel's eyes widened. "Really?" "Yes," she said, smiling despite her worries. "A small life, part of both of us. It makes all the fear feel smaller somehow." Kale reached for her hand, placing his palm gently over hers. "Then we protect it, together, no matter what the elders or anyone else thinks." Lyria's heart warmed at his words. She had feared facing her mother and the council, but Kel's determination made her feel stronger. Together, they could face the challenges ahead. The next few days were filled with careful planning. Lyria introduced Kale to some distant relatives and trusted friends, slowly building allies who might support their union. Some were hesitant, but Kel's polite manners and quick thinking slowly earned their respect. He learned the city's customs, sometimes awkwardly, but always with honesty and a desire to do right. One afternoon, a sudden storm swept through the city. Fierce winds and heavy rain flooded the streets, threatening small boats and the city's gardens. Lyria panicked, but Kale acted immediately. He helped secure vulnerable areas, guiding citizens to safety and assisting workers in moving heavy equipment. His human ingenuity, improvised tools, quick thinking, and calm decision-making saved both lives and property. Lyria watched in awe. This was what she had always known: humans could adapt, could face challenges in ways her people sometimes could not. Kale was proving himself not just with words, but with actions. The elders, who observed discreetly, took notice to Dot after the storm. The city was safe. Though wet and muddy, citizens began whispering among themselves, speaking of the human who had helped protect them. Lyria felt a swell of pride and relief. Cale had shown the strength she knew he had, and slowly, fear and suspicion were giving way to respect. That evening, they returned to the palace. The halls were quiet now, lit by soft crystals that glowed like moons. Lyria paused, looking at Cale. "You did well today," she said. He shrugged, a small smile on his face. "I did what I had to do. But you stood strong the whole time. I couldn't have done this without you." Lyria smiled, feeling the warmth of his presence. "We are stronger together. I hope my mother sees that soon." Cale's expression grew thoughtful. "She will, in time. But it may take more than one good act. We have to keep showing our intentions, our care, our respect for your people. It will not be easy, but we can do it." Lyria nodded. The path ahead was still uncertain, but Cale's words reminded her of why she loved him. Together, they were a force not just of love, but of hope. They represented the possibility of two worlds coming together. Days turned into weeks. Cale learned more about the alien culture, assisting in community projects and helping citizens in need. Lyria watched him adapt with patience and courage. The city slowly began to whisper in approval, and even some elders softened their stance. While the council still held its formal discussions, there was a growing sense that perhaps humans could have a place here, after all. One night, Lyria stood on her balcony overlooking the city. The twin moons rose, casting silver light over the streets. Cale joined her, standing quietly at her side. "Do you think we can really do it?" she asked softly. "Can we make them accept us?" Cale placed a hand over hers. "I don't know what the future holds," he admitted, "but I do know this: we are brave, and we care. If we keep showing that, slowly, the world will understand. And our child will change hearts too." Lyria felt tears prick her eyes. "I hope so. I hope the child can grow in a world that doesn't fear love." Cale smiled gently. "It will, because we will protect it, and we will protect each other. That is what matters." As the city slept under the twin moons, Lyria and Cale stood together, united in purpose and heart. The journey ahead would be long, full of challenges and tests, but for the first time, Lyria felt that they could face it all together. Change was coming, and this time, they would not run from it. The grand hall of the palace was filled with a quiet tension. Lyria stood at the center, Cale beside her, both feeling the weight of every eye upon them. The Council of Elders had requested this meeting to discuss her pregnancy. Today, there would be no gentle warnings, only questions, judgments, and decisions that could affect their future. Her mother, Queen Solara, sat at the head of the hall, her regal posture unwavering. Around her, elders watched silently, their expressions a mix of curiosity, suspicion, and careful calculation. Lyria drew in a deep breath and tried to steady her racing heart. "Mother," Lyria began, her voice steady despite the fear she felt, "I have something to say. Something I must say openly. I am pregnant. The child I carry is Cale's." The hall fell silent. Even the distant hum of the palace seemed to pause, as though the walls themselves were listening. Cale stepped forward slightly, bowing respectfully to the queen and the council. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice calm and polite, "I promise to care for Lyria and our child. I seek only to protect them and honor your family and traditions. I mean no harm to your people." Queen Solara's sharp gaze rested on him. "A human," she said slowly, her tone both commanding and incredulous. "Do you understand the gravity of this union? Our laws, our ways, the expectations of our people." Her voice trailed off, but the unspoken words carried weight. "I do, Mother," Lyria said firmly. "But I also know that love and honesty matter more than rules alone. I will not hide the truth from you or from the council. This child is part of both our worlds, and it deserves to know its parents openly and without fear." The council murmured among themselves, some shaking their heads, others exchanging glances of concern. One elder, a tall alien with silver hair that shimmered under the palace light, leaned forward. "Lyria, You speak with courage. But courage alone cannot protect a child. Do you truly believe a human can survive here, within our traditions? Can it understand and honor our ways? Kel's hand moved to rest gently on Lyria's. I will learn, he said simply. I will do whatever it takes to respect your culture, your laws, and your people. I am willing to prove myself, in word and action. Another elder, her green-tinted skin glinting faintly, stood. Prove yourself? How? Words are easy. Deeds show truth. If you truly care for Lyria and this child, you must act in ways that honor both humans and aliens. Only then will the council consider acceptance. Lyria nodded. We understand, and we are ready to do what is necessary. But hiding our lives will not make the child safer. We need honesty, even if it is difficult. Queen Solera's eyes softened for a moment, just enough that Lyria dared to hope. You have grown, the queen said quietly. Perhaps more than I realized. But understand this, our people are cautious. We protect our traditions, our families. I cannot promise full acceptance today, but we will observe, and your actions will speak louder than words. Lyria took a steadying breath, feeling Kel's presence beside her. We accept that, she said. We will show our respect and love through our actions. We will earn your trust, one step at a time. The council debated quietly among themselves, their voices low but intense. Lyria could not hear all of their words, but she felt their scrutiny like a physical weight. Kale placed a hand on her back, offering silent support. Finally, Queen Solara raised a hand, signaling silence. Very well, she said. The council will watch and decide in time. Kale, your actions will determine your place here. Lyria, your courage is noted. But know this, the path ahead is not easy. You will face prejudice, doubt, and challenges. The child you carry may be a symbol, yes, but it will also be a test for all of us. Lyria nodded, swallowing hard. I understand, Mother, but we will face it together. Kale and I, and the child we carry. Love will guide us, and respect will guide our actions. The hall quieted, the council having accepted, for now, their presence without immediate judgment. It was not full acceptance, but it was progress. After the meeting, Lyria and Kale walked through the palace gardens. The air was fragrant with glowing flowers, and the moonlight reflected softly on flowing water. Lyria's shoulders slumped slightly as she sat on a smooth stone bench. Do you think we can really do it? She asked, her voice low. Can we prove ourselves to them? Kale sat beside her, resting a hand over hers. I believe we can. We cannot control everyone's thoughts, but we can show them who we are. Honest, caring, and strong. That is all we need to do. Lyria leaned her head on his shoulder, feeling the weight of the world but also the warmth of his presence. I fear for the child, she admitted. It will grow up between two worlds. Some may not accept it. Kale gently lifted her chin, forcing her to look at him. Your child will know love first. That is the most important thing. Acceptance can come later, and we will protect it, no matter what. The next days were filled with small but meaningful actions. Kale helped in the palace, learning customs, assisting workers, and solving problems that required human ingenuity. Lyria watched as he adapted, not perfectly, but always with respect. Each act earned cautious approval from minor council members and some citizens. One evening, an incident occurred that tested both of them. A fire broke out in the outer city, caused by a malfunction in the energy lines. Smoke rose quickly, and citizens screamed as the flames threatened homes and businesses. Lyria felt panic rise in her chest, but Kale moved swiftly. He directed citizens to safety, using simple tools and quick thinking to block the flames and guide people out of danger. Lyria followed, assisting wherever she could. Together, they saved several families from harm, calming frightened children and worried elders. When the fire was under control, the council arrived, observing the aftermath. They saw the humans' courage and resourcefulness firsthand. Whispers of approval moved through the city. For the first time, some began to see Kale not as a threat, but as a capable protector. Lyria felt a mixture of relief and pride. Kale had proven himself without even trying to impress anyone. His care, calmness, and clever thinking spoke louder than words ever could. That night, back in the palace, Lyria and Kale sat in their small private chamber. The city lights glimmered faintly through the window. "You were amazing today," Lyria said softly. "I've never seen you act so naturally. The way you handled everything, it showed who you are." Kale shrugged, though a faint blush colored his cheeks. "I did what anyone who cares would do, but I couldn't have done it without you. You gave me strength." Lyria smiled, placing a hand on her stomach. "The child is growing. I can feel it moving more each day. I hope it will grow in a world that can understand it, that can accept both humans and aliens." Kale nodded, his expression firm. "It will, because we will make it so. Step by step, action by action, love and courage will guide us, and we will face every challenge together." Lyria leaned against him, feeling comforted and reassured. The council's judgment was still pending, and the city's people remained cautious, but for the first time, she felt that the future could hold hope. In the quiet of the night, the palace seemed less intimidating, less like a fortress of tradition and fear. Together, they had faced scrutiny, survived judgment, and taken their first steps toward acceptance. The road ahead was long, but they were united. Lyria pressed a hand to her stomach, feeling the small, growing life inside her, a symbol of hope, love, and unity. Kale rested his head beside hers. "No matter what comes next," he whispered, "we face it together." "Yes," Lyria whispered back, a soft smile on her lips. Together, always. Outside, the twin moons rose higher, casting silver light over the city and the palace gardens. Change was coming, but this time, Lyria felt ready to face it. She had Kale by her side, their child growing within her, and the strength to stand for love even in the face of fear. For the first time, the future felt full of possibility. The days following the council meeting were tense, yet filled with quiet determination. Lyria and Kale knew that words alone would not be enough. If they wanted acceptance, they had to show their worth through actions, and the city was ready to test them. It began with the great bridge that connected the palace to the outer city. For decades, it had stood as a symbol of stability, but recent storms had weakened its structure. Citizens worried that it might collapse, and the elders debated whether to close it entirely. Closing it would disrupt trade and daily life, but repairing it was dangerous. Lyria knew that if they acted carefully, they could help the city and show Kale's abilities to the council. "We should help," Lyria said, determination in her green eyes. "We cannot ignore this. The bridge is important to everyone, and we have skills that can make a difference." Kale nodded. "Then we do it, together." They arrived at the bridge with a small team of workers. Kale examined the damage with careful attention, noticing cracks and weaknesses that others had missed. Using both his human tools and Lyria's knowledge of alien construction methods, they worked efficiently. Kale's hands moved confidently, adjusting supports, reinforcing beams, and devising ways to secure unstable areas without risking collapse. Lyria worked beside him, offering instructions, encouragement, and her own expertise. Her heart swelled with pride. This was more than just fixing a bridge, it was proof of what humans and aliens could achieve together. Citizens began to gather, watching the unusual pair. Whispers spread quickly. "The human is helping," some said in surprise, "and the princess herself stands beside him." By the afternoon, the bridge was stronger than it had been in years. The workers cheered, and even a few elders who had come to observe nodded in approval. Lyria felt a surge of hope. Kale had shown not only courage, but intelligence, adaptability, and respect for her people's ways. Later, Kale and Lyria walked along the city streets. The air was filled with the scent of evening flowers and the soft hum of energy flowing through the streets. People greeted them with cautious smiles, and some even thanked Kale directly for his help. Lyria noticed the subtle shift. The city was beginning to see humans in a new light. "You're doing more than I imagined," Lyria said quietly. "I didn't know it was possible to change so many hearts so quickly." Kale smiled, but his eyes were thoughtful. "It's not about speed. It's about showing who we are, one action at a time. People will judge, but they will also notice honesty and care." Their journey of proving themselves continued over the next weeks. Kale helped in community projects, repaired homes damaged by storms, and assisted children in learning new skills. Lyria observed him, amazed at his patience and determination. He treated every task, no matter how small, with care and respect. Slowly, even skeptical citizens began to whisper praise rather than doubt. One afternoon, a distress call came from the outer farms. A sudden landslide had blocked the irrigation channels, threatening the crops that fed the city. Without water, the farms would fail, and citizens would face hunger. Lyria and Kale acted immediately. Arriving at the site, Kale assessed the situation quickly. "We need to redirect the water flow first," he said. "Then we can remove the debris safely." Lyria nodded. "I'll guide the workers. You lead the effort to redirect the water." Together, they coordinated the operation. Kale devised temporary channels using materials on hand, directing water to the farms while keeping the workers safe. Lyria communicated with the farmers, organizing efforts to clear the blocked channels. Hours passed, and sweat and dust covered everyone, but the operation succeeded. Water flowed again, and the crops were saved. The farmers cheered, and a few of them knelt before Lyria and Kale in gratitude. "You have saved our families," one elder said, voice trembling with emotion. "Perhaps humans are not so strange after all." Lyria felt a thrill of pride. Kale had not only helped her people, but he had also begun to soften hearts. Even the council, observing from a distance, seemed impressed by his calm decision-making and ingenuity. That evening, Lyria and Kale returned to the palace, exhausted but satisfied. They walked through the gardens in silence, feeling the city's warmth in the soft lights and gentle hum of life. "You're amazing," Lyria said softly. "Every time you help, every time you act with care, people notice." Even the elders. Kale shook his head, smiling. "I am not amazing. I am just doing what is right. You inspire me, Lyria. Without you, I would not know how to fit here or understand your people. We do this together." Lyria placed a hand on her stomach, feeling a gentle kick from the child within. "Our child will know a world where humans and aliens can work together. I hope it will grow without fear, knowing love guides us." Kale bent down slightly, pressing a hand to her stomach. "It will," he said softly. "We will protect it and teach it what is good. And when the child grows, maybe the world will be better because of our efforts." The weeks turned into months. Kale and Lyria became symbols of unity. They did not seek recognition, but their deeds could not go unnoticed. Even some of the council members who had been wary began to speak in favor of them quietly, acknowledging the courage and dedication they had shown. One day, Lyria's mother requested a private meeting. Lyria entered the queen's chambers with Kale at her side, her heart pounding. She did not know what to expect. "Lyria," Queen Solara began, her voice calm but firm. "I have watched your actions and the way Kale has conducted himself. I cannot ignore what he has done. You both have shown care, bravery, and respect. It is admirable." Lyria felt her chest tighten with relief. "Thank you, Mother. That means more than I can say. But we still have much to prove." Solara nodded. "Yes, the council will continue to watch, and the city will need time to adjust. But you have taken important steps. I see now that perhaps love, courage, and action can matter as much as rules." Lyria's eyes shone with tears she did not try to hide. "I will continue to honor our people and traditions, Mother, and I will do everything I can to protect the child and Kale." The queen gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. "Then continue. Show the city and the council that humans and aliens can coexist. Your child may indeed be a bridge between worlds." That night, Lyria and Kale stood on the balcony overlooking the city. The twin moons reflected on the streets, casting silver light across the towers and gardens. "We've done well," Lyria said quietly. "But the journey is not over." "No," Kale agreed, holding her hand. "But we have shown what we can do. Every act of care, every step forward, makes a difference. Together, we are strong." Lyria rested her head on his shoulder, feeling the gentle movements of their child. "I can feel it growing more every day," she whispered. I hope it will see a world that is better than the one we started in. Kale kissed her forehead softly. It will, because we will make it so. Step by step, action by action. We will protect our family and show the city that love and respect can cross any boundary outside. The city slept peacefully under the moons. Lyria and Kale remained together, united in heart and purpose. The path ahead would not be easy, and challenges would come. But their courage and love had already begun to change minds and hearts. The future was uncertain. But for the first time, Lyria felt a true sense of hope. Change was not something to fear, it was something to embrace, especially when faced together with the one you loved and in the quiet of the night, with the silver light of the moons reflecting off the crystal towers. Lyria knew that their family, their child, and their love would guide the city toward a brighter tomorrow. The city woke to a soft morning light. Twin suns bathed the streets in gold, and the crystal towers reflected colors that seemed almost magical. Lyria stood at the balcony of her room, Kale beside her, their hands intertwined. Today felt different. There was a sense of anticipation, as if the city itself knew that something important was about to happen. Do you feel it? Lyria asked softly, resting a hand on her stomach. The child. It's stronger today, Kale smiled, his brown eyes warm and gentle. Yes, he said. I can feel it too. The little one is growing fast. Soon, our family will be complete. Lyria looked out over the city, her heart swelling with hope. Over the past weeks, Kale's actions had begun to shift the city's perception. Citizens no longer whispered with suspicion, but with curiosity and admiration. The elders had begun to soften, recognizing that humans could act with honor, courage, and respect. Yet, despite this progress, a sense of uncertainty remained. We still have one more step. Lyria said quietly, the council needs to see the final proof that we are worthy not just as individuals, but as a family. Kale nodded. Then we face it together. Whatever comes, we stand united. Their opportunity came sooner than expected. A sudden report arrived from a remote mining colony on the outskirts of the planet. A massive rockslide had trapped miners deep inside a tunnel, and rescue teams were struggling to reach them. The council debated how to respond, cautious about sending too many people into danger. Lyria knew this was their chance. If they could save lives, it would prove their commitment to the city and its people. We have to go, Lyria said, turning to Kale. We cannot wait. People's lives are at stake. Kale's face grew serious. Then we act, together. They arrived at the mining colony to find chaos. Dust hung in the air, and terrified miners shouted for help. The tunnel entrance was blocked by massive boulders, and the weak structure threatened to collapse at any moment. Lyria felt fear, but Kale's calm presence steadied her. First, we need a plan, Kale said. We assess the weak points and create a safe path. Then we guide the miners out in groups. Lyria nodded, organizing the miners and volunteers. Together, they worked efficiently, combining Kale's quick thinking with Lyria's knowledge of alien engineering. Kale devised support beams using materials on hand, reinforcing the tunnel where it was weakest. Lyria directed the miners, keeping them calm and focused. Hours passed, and sweat covered their faces. Dust and debris filled the air, but they continued tirelessly. Slowly, group by group, the miners were guided to safety. Lyria felt a surge of pride and relief with each person who emerged unharmed. Kale never left her side, offering strength, encouragement, and unwavering determination. Finally, the last miner stepped into the sunlight. Cheers erupted, echoing across the mountains and valleys. Even distant council members, who had come to observe, nodded in approval. Lyria's heart raced, knowing that their actions had spoken louder than words ever could. One elder, with silver-tinted hair that shimmered like moonlight, approached them. You have shown courage, wisdom, and care, she said, her voice full of respect. Not just for yourselves, but for our people. It is clear now that your love and your actions can bring honor, not harm. Queen Selara stepped forward, her expression softer than Lyria had ever seen. You have exceeded my expectations, she said quietly. Kale, you have shown that humans can act with honor and respect. Lyria, Your courage and loyalty shine brighter than ever. I accept you both and your child." Lyria felt tears prick her eyes. She had feared rejection for so long, and now her mother's words washed over her like sunlight after a storm. She turned to Kale, who smiled and squeezed her hand. Together, they had proven themselves not just to the council, but to the entire city. The following days were filled with celebration and quiet reflection. Citizens greeted Kale warmly, no longer seeing him as an outsider, but as part of their community. Lyria's mother visited often, offering guidance and support, and the council began to include Kale in discussions about city projects and planning. One evening, Lyria and Kale walked through the palace gardens, the air filled with the scent of glowing flowers. The city lights twinkled like stars, and the twin moons reflected softly on the water channels. "It feels different now," Lyria said softly. "The city, the council, even my mother. Everything has changed." Kale nodded. "Yes, but it is not just the city that has changed. We have grown too. We have faced fear, judgment, and challenges, and we have done it together. That is what matters." Lyria pressed a hand to her stomach. "I can feel the child moving. Soon we will be a family." Kale smiled gently, resting his hand over hers. "A family that has already faced so much, and that will face the future together. Nothing can break us now." Weeks later, Lyria went into labor. The palace was filled with calm activity as midwives and healers prepared for the child's arrival. Kale stood beside her, holding her hand, whispering words of encouragement and love. "You are amazing," he said softly. "Our child will know love because of you." Lyria smiled through her exhaustion. "No, it is because of you too. Together, we have brought hope. Together, we will bring life into this world." The labor was long but steady. The palace seemed to hold its breath, waiting with them. And then, finally, a cry echoed through the chamber, a sound that was both human and alien. Their child had arrived, healthy and strong. Lyria and Kale held the tiny life in their arms, marveling at the small being that was a symbol of love, unity, and hope. Queen Solara entered the room quietly, her eyes soft. She gazed at the child and then at her daughter and Kale. "It is beautiful," she said, "and it carries the promise of a new future. A future where our people and humans can walk together." Lyria smiled, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Mother, thank you for trusting us, for believing in love and courage." Solara nodded. "Love is stronger than fear, and you have shown that to everyone. Your child will grow knowing both worlds, and that is a gift." News of the child's birth spread quickly. The city celebrated, not just for a new life, but for the hope it represented. Citizens came to visit, bringing gifts and offering congratulations. Even the most skeptical elders acknowledged that Kale and Lyria had changed the city forever. In the quiet moments, Lyria and Kale held their child together, marveling at the tiny fingers, the delicate features, and the gentle breathing. "We did it," Lyria whispered. "We faced fear, judgment, and tradition, and we created something beautiful." Kale smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Yes, and our child will grow knowing that love can overcome anything. That humans and aliens, together, can build a future stronger than either could alone." Lyria looked around the palace, at the city beyond, and at the life they had created. It had been a journey full of challenges, but they had faced each one with courage, honesty, and love. The city had changed, the council had accepted them, and the child would grow in a world slowly learning to embrace unity. She pressed her forehead to Kel's. "Together," she whispered, "together." He replied. The twin moons shone brightly over the city that night, reflecting the hope and promise of a new beginning. Lyria, Kale, and their child had not just survived, they had created a bridge between worlds. And as the city slept peacefully under the moons, the future seemed brighter than ever before. For the first time, Lyria knew that love, courage, and action could truly change hearts. She held Kel's hand, feeling the gentle rise and fall of their child's breathing, and whispered once more, "Together, always." Kel smiled, knowing that no matter what came next, they would face it as a family. In the city, once cautious and wary, had begun to see the truth that humans and aliens, when united by love and respect, could create something extraordinary. Change had come. And this time, it was a future full of hope, love, and possibility.